Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the last of the Picture My Life cards or pocket card scrapbooking that I have been doing onto 12 by 12 pages using the Fresh Paint collection. If you've been watching the last few videos, you know that I've done 3 previous layouts with this. It's actually the 8th in the series of these. I did 4 previous ones with the In Full Bloom collection and now 4 with the Fresh Paint collection with these pocket style cards. I've had these on my desk for quite a few days and I've been trying to work out what to do with them, and I kept mainly the blue ones and this one little black card, so I'm going to have to bring some more black into the page. And you can see what I've done is gone ahead and done the ink swiping on the edges of all of these pieces to give them a little bit of definition. I'm going to make a bit of a feature of this PML card. I cut the pizza icon out of it, but I have plans for that. So I'll just clear everything away and get started making the layout. What I think I might do with this is bring in some black cardstock for bases. You can see I've already inked up my photo placement cards because I wanted some definition. And then I'm going to put white in the middle of this layout and build everything onto these pieces. But I want to dress up these outside areas a little bit. So I'm bringing in my spray box and I'm going to use some gloss spray on this. I'm going to use Ocean and the white. So you do need to give these a shake. And instead of spraying, I'm going to just use the straw and go around the edges. The Ocean, I think, works quite well with the PML cards. And you can see I'm getting quite a few blobs here, but that's okay. I don't mind that some are bigger than others. It's because I'm not tapping the straw off. And then I'm going to bring in the white and do exactly the same thing. I think the white and the gilt are my favourite out of all of these colour ranges that we have currently. And I'm just going to bring this piece of white in and hold it over to see if I've got enough of the splatters. And I think I want a few more of the Ocean ones. So I'll put this aside to dry and then I'll do exactly the same treatment to the other side, concentrating around this area here because this is my middle section. While I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to get out my black ink. And I know that this edge is going to be up against the black base, but where there are some of the splatters, I do want the definition to show. And I want it to match in with the treatment that I've done on all the PML cards and also on the photo mats. So these are all nicely inked up and I've got a little bit more definition on these in some of the areas because I've gone a little bit flatter rather than keeping my paper directly upright just to get the edge. If you go a little bit flatter, you'll get some of these really cool grungy sort of looks on the edges where you're doing the inking. The next thing I'm going to do is actually fussy cut this word out. I did the pizza and I've had a bit of an idea of what I'm going to do with that card, and I'm going to mimic that on the other side of the page. So by leaving a little bit of a blue edge around this, it gives you a bit of a wiggle room so that you can fussy cut around this a little bit easier. If I tried to go right up against the white, I would have a little bit more trouble getting that perfect definition between white and blue. I wouldn't be able to separate it quite as well, but by leaving this blue edge, it creates sort of like a sticker type outline, and I'm perfectly fine with that. If you wanted to cut something like this out and keep it up against the white edge and use it on something else, because I'm keeping this part of the PML card, I'm going to use this on the page. But if you wanted to do that, what you could do, once you fussy cut it out up close against the white, is drag it through or sponge with a sponge dauber, black ink around the outside, and that hides up any little mistakes that you may have made. So I'm going to bring in my black pages here. I know it's hard to see with the black on black, but I want to use my Versamat to line up these white sections. These are cut at 10 by 10 inches, so I know that I need a 1-inch border so that it's equal here. I know that there's more of an area over on this side, but I'm going to be putting things on this area to dress that up a little bit. I've taken the Versamats away so that you can see the actual outline of the layouts with the black. And how cool does this look with the grungy bit of the swiping coming in onto the white big mats for these? So I'm going to start laying everything out, and my process here is to use this white mat as a base, but then I'm going to start having things hanging over the area. If I keep everything contained, it's more of a formal type layout, and I want this to be a fun layout with these cards. This one here is a little bit long, so I'm going to do some trimming. I'll put a 3x4 photo here. This is a leftover piece from a previous layout, and I know that it's got this printing here, but I've got some strips left over from another word art piece. So I'm going to put that across here, and then I'll stick some acrylic shapes and things over this part so you won't even see that part of the letter. I think to balance this off, I want another 6x4 over here and a 4x4 photo. So this is acting like a title and a subtitle. This one will act like a journal box. And now we've got that fun pizza piece that I can put here. And you can see the orientation of this isn't quite working with the layout. I didn't want to use the yellow side. If I'd used the yellow side, it just would have been too bright. So to solve that problem, I'm going to bring in some black mats. So this one here can get matted directly straight on top of this black mat. And then to match this sort of thing here and to keep it the same width, so this is cut like a PML card, so this is a 4x3 piece. I can tuck that under there and that balances everything out, I think. And then I'll start adhering this down and I'll show you what I'm going to do with these pieces. But first I need to just trim this PML card so that it's not quite as tall. So I'm just going to put that into my little bits of leftovers over here, and I'm going to save that piece as well. I'm just going to look at how that looks, and that fits much better there. I've got everything adhered down, so you may have already guessed what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to pop these up, so I'm just going to decide if I want to use the thin 3D foam dots or the regular foam dots. And I think to create a bit of a shadow, I'm going to use the regular ones because these have a bit more height to them. I love that they come in large and small, and then I can also cut these down as well in case I want to make them a little bit smaller. So normally you could just get maybe one of these, but that's still a little bit too wide to go right on the edge. So I'm just going to get my scissors and cut a thin strip of that to go down in that corner because I want that edge of the pizza to be supported. If I place that directly down on top, when it's in a page protector, you might not notice that there is a black area underneath it, and I do really want to make that stand out. So I'm thinking what I might do is add some extra dimension as well and layer up on top of these some of the thinner foam dots. So when you're looking at the foam dots, and our foam tape as well, you just need to look to see whether you're getting the thin or just the 3D. The 3D has more dimension to it, and I don't know if you can pick that up on camera here, but these are a little bit thicker than these ones, so they will give you more dimension. And it's okay to double things up and create more dimension. So if I put that directly on top, you can, if you're looking from the side, see that there's black underneath it. But I'm going to create a little bit of a shadow, and I'm hoping that I'm not getting my head in the way with this. I'm just going to hold it up to the camera a little bit, is that I get a black outline, a little drop shadow, and that gives a little bit more of an effect with the foam dots that I've used, and it creates a cool little backdrop. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this side, but instead of a black shadow, this one's going to have a white shadow. There's enough black, I feel, with all of this area here that a white shadow makes that look a little bit fresh. So I've got my two feature elements here by cutting out a section of the PML card. I could have done it with the skateboard as well, but I think the two are enough. And now I'm going to bring in all these little strips, and I'm thinking that I will tuck these in and around this area here, they've all been inked. The ones that I have cut off, I'll make sure that I tuck that area underneath. And even though you can't see the black inking, when I start layering these up, that will show when I put other pieces behind. So I'm going to trim this bit off. And I'm basically mimicking what I'm doing on the right side with what I'm doing on the left. Now I cut this piece a little bit wider because that's a wider strip there, and this one's just a little bit thinner. So I'm tucking these around. This one I'm pushing right up against the edge because it's not a very wide strip. And I've got some of this brick as well. I'm just going to chop this in half. That's left over from another piece. And I've got these two sections here. But for this one, I'm going to do it down here. It just breaks up that big long strip. I'm just going to take these two away and step back and have a little bit of a look. And I think I quite like how that brings in the colours. These have all got texture on them with the bricks, the splatters and the smudges. I'm going to adhere these down and bring out the acrylic shapes to finish off the layout. Here's the final layout with the acrylic shapes that I've attached. You can see there are some circle elements that you can layer inside each other. So I've used those to anchor these points on the outside edges at the bottom and the top of the pages here. And I've added in some of the little hearts, the skateboard with the flame coming out that mimics this side, and then I've put the arrows on here pointing towards this photo, and the red then pulls out the little red accents in this PML card and this one over here as well, so that makes them look like it all belongs. What I've got left over from the PML cards is just two little pieces. I found that the colours didn't quite go with all the blues in this, so I left that out. Even though there is some in here, I just felt I couldn't use that one. And I've got a centre little strip from this 3x4 PML card where I cut the outside edges off. But I'm pretty happy with my use of all the Picture My Life cards, all the pocket cards that I've done with the 4 layouts with Fresh Paint. I do have quite a few of the acrylic shapes left over. I haven't actually used all of those up, but I think they will make great accents on cards and other scrapbook layout projects. I've got the Fresh Paint Scrapbooking thin cut set, so they will fit in quite nicely with all the images on this for creating cards or future layouts. And this is still available to order, as are the PML cards, but not the acrylic shapes. I think they've disappeared at the time of me doing this recording. I was hoping to get all of these done before this catalogue retired, but some of the items for Fresh Paint are still available to order. They've come back online and I'll list those below. This is in effect the 8th layout that I have done with the PML cards, so I'm looking forward to doing some more. I think I might do a series with the Backyard Bliss ones that have come out with the new seasonal catalogue, so I can't wait to get started on those. I hope you've enjoyed the Fresh Paint series with these pocket cards, and stay tuned next week for some exciting news on the Creative Design Team membership group. And before I go, I nearly forgot that I had to cover up that little bit that had a little bit of text here in yellow that was peeking out underneath this strip. So I've actually joined in another one of these circle elements and added a little black heart and a red star to team it all in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy crafting and bye for now.